Financing Fridays. Welcome to the Froggy Five. I'm your host, Jim Froehlich, founder and managing member of the Froggy Companies, where when it comes to real estate, you can't stop the hop. Can you share with us any creative financing or funding techniques that are helping you today or have helped you in the past? Sure. Yeah, I touched on one. So with creative financing, I touched on one. I started my real estate journey with the no money down idea. And so that was really good because it taught me one end of the spectrum of always start if you're buying something yourself from a single family owner, always start the process with, hey, will you take back some in the form of a note? It's a great way to get into something that you might not otherwise have had enough of a down payment to get into. I will caution people, though, one thing I've learned along the way with the no money down deals or low money down deals is that you really don't want to over leverage yourself. So ideally you want to have 20 to 30% equity in anything that you buy. So if you're in this position where you get like 100% owner financing, only 5% down, this is kind of what led to a lot of the problems with the housing bubble burst of 2008, where people had these loans that they really maybe shouldn't have. I benefited from one of those. We got our own home for like 5% down. So I learned when I had my own home built, I used the creative financing techniques that I learned from Carlton Sheets to get into my own home at the time for almost no money down. I think maybe not even 5%. And so I've used that technique of getting low money down. But like I said, always have a plan to de-lever what you're doing, to build up enough equity so that if something does change, you're not stuck with so much debt on a property. So that's one of the things we look for when we talk to partners about their debts. We're more into providing equity into deals than doing debt, because generally I'm having partners come to us that have term sheets lined up for loans, and we're always checking into the details of those. So along the creative financing side, I'll step back and talk about wholesaling on the end of the spectrum, where people don't have little or no money and they're trying to do stuff in real estate, right? And the wholesaling comes up, and that's essentially, to use round numbers, like you go out and find a home that's really worth maybe $100,000, but you can get it for $70,000, and you know that there's a lot of people out there that'd be willing to pay $80,000. So you get it under contract, make sure it's an assignable contract for $70,000, and then you flip it and reassign it to someone who's going to buy it for $80,000, and you get $10,000. So there's a whole series of educational videos and books about how to do that. We started doing that several years ago to sort of try out that area, but it didn't feel right to us. It didn't feel natural to us, because you do have to deal with a lot of situations, right? Where if you're not taking a high road and doing things honestly, a lot of people in the wholesaling industry, I'll just say it bluntly, a lot of people get involved and they don't know what they're doing. And then a lot of people try to just take advantage of people who either somebody just died in their family, or they're down and out, or something just, is close to foreclosure. There's a market for it, and it's actually helpful. It's usually win-win. It's why there's a whole, WeBuyUglyHouses.com. There's people that want, to quickly sell their house without the hassle. And, but within that, I'll just say that from the financing perspective, the people that do it best have large cash buyers lists. They're basically out there finding good deals, and they have cash buyers who they know are reputable. They're contractors or house flippers that want to do things the right way. And I'll just say my word of caution with the wholesaling as a whole, if somebody's thinking about using that as a way to get past financing hurdles, is that you don't want to get started in this business tying up properties that you don't intend to close, or that you have no intention of closing, unless if you go out on a limb and try to find a buyer. You want to know that you have buyers already lined up for that property, and that you're doing it the right way, or else you'll quickly lose your reputation. And so now then I'll jump up to the commercial side. I'll just give one other thing related to this. When you're buying anything over 4 units, it becomes a commercial property, and it becomes more, the lending part becomes more about what type of net operating income that asset generates, right? So you can, I read about and heard when I was starting in real estate years ago that, hey, you don't need to have any money and you can just do these large commercial deals because it's based on the property. Well, that's not necessarily true. You can't yourself just go get a big loan because you found a property that supports that. What you have to do is start teaming up with other people who have experience in these areas. Property management, having done ground up development deals, acquiring or have some type of portfolio. And if you're on the lower end of that spectrum, say you don't have a ton of net worth and liquidity yourself, what you need to do are create valuable relationships. And every valuable relationship has to come with you bringing something to the equation, right? Either you're bringing some sweat equity, some knowledge, or some people that that have money, that believe in you, or something that you can bring to the other side. You can't just show up with people that show up talking to people who have big portfolios of multifamilies or have a bunch of money and say, hey, I want to be your partner and you want to help me, you want to mentor me. It doesn't really work that way. So I would say the good thing about it is that it is true that if a deal is truly good, and it's hard to know that when you're first starting out, what's really a good deal, because you don't see it as clearly until you've been through hundreds of them. If it's truly good, you will find a way to finance it. And what I mean by that is there are partners out there, there are people looking to purchase that. And a lot of times they're guys that are just have big net worth and liquidity who they recognize a good deal when they see it. And they can just sign on to a team that's going after a loan, and their balance sheet is going to carry the day. So it's not like your personal credit or what you have is going to bring the whole team down. It's the person with the biggest bank account and experience who's riding on that team, who's willing to sign off on it, even when it's a non-recourse loan, and usually the big deals are. It's important to have those types of relationships. So I just say that from a creativity standpoint in financing, building big partnerships up with credible people is the best way to go. Hey, thanks for having me on. If anybody else wants to find out more about what we're doing, please come to froggycompanies.com. Check out our 3 different business areas. We also have the Froggy Fund 1 that's now open for up to $18 million. We're going to be investing that $18 million across a diverse number of assets, cash flowing and ground up. And I'm really excited about this fund and really confident that we can outperform most of the other people out there in terms of what we invest in and how we do our due diligence and the type of partners we put together. So it's great talking to you, and see you next time.